Going live, 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 live.
And our sound is playing around with us again.
Yeah. We'll blame Microsoft. Microsoft had to have changed something.
Well, the little bit of the recording I just heard, I sounded all right, and so did you.
Yeah, well, it's not just how it sounds on the YouTubes. It's also how it sounds to me because I record it locally.
Okay.
And then it's turned into our show. So when I can hear something unusual in the sounds,
that means it's going to show up in the recording, whereas it won't show up in YouTube because YouTube has its own filters?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
There we go. Let's see. Got all of that. Seems to be working correctly. Okay. Talk again. See if you're there.
Well, I have an update on the chicken saga drama. Our rooster, so as you know, originally we thought that the rooster was not a rooster. And then what we thought was just a really fluffy chicken that kept getting bigger turned into our rooster. And our rooster sounded kind of like one of those squeaky dog toys with a battery that was dying for a long time. Well, he found his voice.
He got an upgrade?
He got an upgrade, and now he won't shut up. After the show today, we're going to be catching him and putting a collar on him because we've been letting them loose into the backyard since we're not. I made sure that all the important beds were blocked off and we're just letting them have fun. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that they will be less bored with this because a couple of the hens are starting to show some rooster tracks. I think he's really bored and is passing time like any boy with a bunch of women would do. He's got a bunch of his own ladies, so he gets bored. He passes the time the way any dude would. Mm-hmm. Unfortunate ladies are showing some wear and tear.
Okay.
Rooster tracks. So I'm trying to make it so that he's less bored, and letting them loose in the backyard does seem to be helping. But letting him loose in the backyard also seems to have given him this upgrade in his voice. So it's quite the entertaining saga that's going on right now.
Oh, well, that's got to suck. Okay, it's sounding better.
Well, that's good. Oh, and our cat Ghost?
Mm-hmm.
He keeps stalking them, and then he'll, jump out at them with his paws wide, but he doesn't jump close enough to catch him. All he's doing is purposely spooking them so that they get startled, and then he books it.
Well, at least he's not trying to eat them.
No, he's just messing with them. I think he enjoys the power trip of making them startle.
Yes, it could very well be that.
And he's practicing his chittering on them. And he's managed to get into the coop a couple of times. And then at one time, one of the hens chased him out. He looked a little abashed, and the hen looked very offended.
Oh,
yeah,
while
they're running loose in the backyard, I just have the door to the coop open. Okay. So how's the sound sounding now?
Suddenly it sounded wide open and with noise, and now it's gone again.
Wide open with noise? Like noise in my background? Or what do you mean by that?
Audio noise. Audio noise in there. It's audio noise. I don't know how to describe it for you.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely certain what audio noise is.
That's because you don't do audio work.
Very true. I just got a message from YouTube saying YouTube wants to use your microphones.
Tell it no. Unless you want to talk to YouTube for whatever reason.
I just blocked it. That was interesting. I've never had YouTube ask me if it can use my microphones before on my computer. On my phone, which kind of makes sense because a lot of people use audio on their phone, like they'll use their voice to search for things. Mm-hmm. But I've never had them ask me on my computer before. That's new to me.
Well, Okay.
So your alter ego says we're sounding good on YouTube at least, which is good. So we're
Well,
sounding good.
if all else fails, I can wait to steal the audio from the YouTube.
Yeah, it's an option. Although if you do that, then
it just takes me longer after the show. Instead of finishing processing and upload my audio within 10 minutes, I have to wait for YouTube to finish processing the video, which takes them about half an hour, and then I got to download it, and then I got to strip the video or the audio from it, and then I got to edit out the front of the show and the back of the show, the stuff that people don't get to listen to when they're listening to the podcast download.
All the good things.
They got it.
Oh, I just lost your sound entirely.
To babble about for the first 15 minutes.
Did you hear me say I lost your sound entirely?
Nope, did not.
Okay, well, apparently you are gone as well from YouTube because your alter ego says that you were gone.
Okay, well, this is going to be a really entertaining time. What is my stream connection's good. All of that's good. I didn't lose the audio here. I was watching my meter here and everything was fine.
Interesting.
I'm
not even sure what you were rambling about because you cut off right at the beginning of your ramble there, so.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen anymore.
Well, one way or another, we'll have a show.
Yep. And for anybody who's listening, if you miss any parts on the YouTube, hopefully it'll show up in our actual show.
Yep. Well, we shall see. It is time for some music to head into the showtime.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking
Well, it must be time.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 644, and we have plugins for managing support access, complete AI-packed power, and some WordPress news, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we got the usual great show for you today. Hopefully we don't get the audio issues we encountered right at the beginning of the show. But we'll do our best to make it the best we can. And you only got to suffer through this for another 2 weeks or so as my new computer comes online and the whole audio system gets changed out. So we'll see what happens along that line. I've got all kinds of stuff coming along the line there. All right. And you said something. I didn't hear you.
Super gremlins. Don't feed them after midnight.
Okay. Your show.
Well, we've been having so many little gremlins in the machine spawning lately. Be sure not to feed your machine after midnight.
Yes. That could be a problem.
Larry Snow. Hi. Nice to see you. Glad you can make it to the show.
Hey, Larry. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. All right. You've got your spill.
I do? Yes, I do. So, welcome to episode 644. We have plugins for managing support access and complete AI pack power and some WordPress news for you. The episode today is called Mastering WordPress A to Z of plugins that power up your website. And we are hoping to greet the new season. I don't know about everyone else, but what
you just dropped out. Where did you
and
go?
if you remember,
you dropped out. Where did you go?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, where did I leave off there?
I don't know. I was checking a couple of things, and all of a sudden you vanished. It sounds like we've got some issues maybe with Teams here today.
Maybe. Well, what I was saying is hoping that everyone out there is getting a bit of sunshine, bringing in the new season. I think the false spring is over now, and we're moving into the real spring, hopefully.
No, we'll find out.
Yep. And for anybody who didn't catch it in the very beginning, oh, I don't know about you, new season. Okay, yes, that's where I left off. So, yeah, basically the star of my blurb here. So anybody who didn't catch it in the very beginning, I have a great chicken saga going on where we're letting the chickens out in the back. Our rooster found his voice and is getting very roostery. It's very irritating. Such a sweet rooster. He doesn't peck anyone or anything, but he's very loud now. And we have a couple of reminders before we start the show today. Show starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time every other week on Monday. You can join in for our pre-stream entertainment about 12:15-ish. And you'll find the show notes on the homepage after the show, about within 24 hours after show. This is a value for value show, so you can help us get some loving by hitting some like buttons, sharing an episode or two, or, just crank up the volume while you're listening to us. Maybe somebody else will notice and do the same, and it'll just keep passing on that way. If you stick around till the end, you will have a chance to hear some good questions. Sometimes the questions are meant for the newbies to this whole industry. Sometimes they're meant for the fossils out there who just need a little bit of reminding of things that are happening in the world. And sometimes they're just random questions that perhaps you didn't even know you should be asking these questions. Always worth listening to. Sometimes you'll learn something, sometimes you won't.
Oh, absolutely.
Our artist today is
Firefly.
Yeah.
Firefly is producing better art than Grok right now.
Yeah, well, they updated him again.
Yeah, well, he seems to think when I tell him to create something really cool and dramatic like this, he gives me pictures of people.
Well, something I learned about Grok is he no longer has access to previous conversations.
Yes.
So because he no longer has access to previous conversations, there is absolutely no ability for him to continue building on previous experience with each individual.
Yeah. Bit of
It's
a pain.
unfortunate.
Bit of a pain, unfortunate, but hey.
Slows him down.
Don't know why they're doing that. You're
On
gone.
to news.
You're gone again. Oh yeah, it is news time. You vanished again. All right, news.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
If anyone out there has any news they'd like to have added here, or you think we should know about it, or that we should pass it on, send it in to me at amber@wppro.ca. I'll get it in here. We'll make sure it gets up so that more people will have access to it. So the first thing we have today is the WordPress vulnerability report with solid WP. In this report, there are 335 vulnerabilities. All of them are plugins this week. There are 158 with patches, but there are still 177 with no patches. So go through the list, see what's there, figure out what you need to pay attention to for you and your clients. The next thing I have here is the WordPress vulnerability report from PatchStack. I really do use this one a lot more. Like anytime I need to know the most recent information, I go to these guys because they really do have the most up-to-date information. When I was filling all this information out, the most recent issue was from 48 minutes ago. And it's a plugin called Simple Download Counter with an authenticated arbitrary file read vulnerability. I'm not sure what that is, but you can find out more information about it. And next is WordPress 6.8 will use bcrypt for password hashing. So I wasn't entirely sure what this meant when I first looked into it. I had to do a bit of research in order to understand. The way that they create the passwords is it's called a PHPass portable hashing. It's like the language it's used to create the passwords.
Yeah, MD5. The passwords are currently hashed in MD5.
Okay. Well, as of 6.8, it's going to change to something called bcrypt. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it's a higher encryption, so it's harder to hack into them.
Okay.
Is what it is. With the modern computers that do Bitcoin mining now, hacking MD5 is like cutting through butter for them. So the bcrypt is a little harder to hack.
Okay. Well, there's nothing that needs to be done.
No.
For like the users and everything, if you are the one who runs the site and you are worried about your users having to change their password, don't worry about it. Nothing has to be done. This is just something I think is important to know so that you understand what's going on.
Yeah. Well, what's going to happen is when you next upgrade to WordPress, the next time you log into your site, your password's encryption will be changed. Your password doesn't change, just the way it's encrypted in the database, and that'll happen for all the users on your site. And any new user going forward will have the new encryption for a password. So what's that?
Larry said a couple of things here. First, he said, wow, seems like a lot. No, I think that was to the amount of vulnerabilities. Yes, the vulnerabilities are getting more. I think that might be for a couple of reasons. One, they are getting through, they're actually managing to go through more plugins, it seems, because they got like a bigger team.
Yeah, they're examining more plugins and they're discovering more. A lot of these vulnerabilities, though, if you dig down into them, a good number of them are only vulnerabilities if someone has administrative access to your site.
Yeah, and then another reason would be that there's been a lot of plugins that have been abandoned and just forgotten, and those are absolutely going to have vulnerabilities.
Yeah, there's that problem too.
Same thing with themes. So those are the two main reasons. And for the update, will it update the hash for existing passwords or only for new?
I just answered that.
Yes, you did.
I just answered that question before I even saw what appeared there.
You did. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure that we got that into the show.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, this is a very important thing to understand, just to know what's going on. So, next thing we have is Google Ads stopped running for some advertisers. So, this is something that happened on March 1st, just a couple days ago. For Google Ads, a bunch of people realized that their Google Ads just kind of stopped running. And then as of this morning, they should all be back on track and running properly again. Although, if you have not checked your Google Ads, or if you are in charge of Google Ads for your clients, I would recommend that you go check that out. Make absolutely certain that they are back on track, because nobody's really sure what happened. The Google team that fixed it, perhaps they are aware, but they're not telling anybody. So make sure that your Google Ads, if they stopped, are back on track.
Yeah.
Next here, I have Automatic hit with a class action over WP Engine dispute, accused of anti-competitive tactics. So this is just a furthering of the drama, but it's a little bit different because it's not actually WP Engine. It's a fellow named Ryan Keller who runs an Ohio-based cybersecurity business called SecureSite. This is important because he is making this this class action because of the way that he and his company were affected. His company and his clients, they were all affected in a way. So I'm not sure about the ripple effect this is going to have, but I do know it's going to have some massive ripple effects. So I just want everyone to be aware. I'm not sure what changes are coming down the pike, though. What do you think this could do?
The ripple effect of this is going to be, if it's approved as a class action suit, it's going to mean more class action suits will be launched against Matt and Automatic, because he's named specifically in this suit. And it's going to do more damage to Automatic because of what they did. And it's because of the drama he pulled last fall. And there's many businesses were impacted by this. There were a lot of people complaining across Twitter about losing contracts because of what Matt was doing.
Yeah.
And so that's a dramatic thing to have happen. And someone who has the money to get them, actually, there's 2 law offices that are running this class action suit. And of course, class action suits are a not pro bono, but a 1/3 take on whatever they win in a lawsuit. So the guy's not even paying the lawyers, but these are 2 big. These aren't small class action lawyers. They've taken on companies such as Apple and Google and others.
Okay.
So this is pretty significant for Automatic. As far as how it'll impact the WordPress community, I couldn't say, because one thing that'll happen is the WordPress community is already picking up the slack in multiple areas across WordPress to keep the WordPress ecosystem itself going. Because the WordPress ecosystem is not Automatic.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't think that if Automatic ends up falling, that's going to be detrimental to the WordPress community. I know that a lot of people are kind of worried that if Automatic ends up crumbling, that something bad is going to happen to WordPress. I don't think there is, though.
It'll have some impacts on it, but it won't destroy it, because this ecosystem is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing it'll do initially is dealing with the WordPress repository and because the WordPress code is freely available on GitHub.
Yes.
So it can be taken at any time and moved. The only problem that'll be is dealing with the WordPress trademark. And that'll be the one big thing, as what'll happen with that along line. But this one here, we'll monitor this one for a while, because lawsuits, while they make a big splash at the beginning, even the WP engine and automatic lawsuit is now in the courts, and their real court dates aren't for 6 months to 8 months out from now. So nothing else is going to happen there. They're in all of the lawyers hollering back and forth at each other mode right now. So
yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on this, and if we notice any patterns emerging, we'll let everyone know.
yeah, we'll bring it out as it comes up.
And last thing I have here is a comic. The comic is titled AI Won't Take Everyone's Job.
Yes, this one's cute.
It is cute. And down below, I have another link for wpshout.com/comics. They have some really awesome comics there. I highly recommend people go and check it out. If you need a brain break, just go there. It'll help get you chuckling.
That will be in the show notes. All right, let's hear from Rogue.
So does he give you funny looks whenever you play that?
Only if it's on the speaker. It's in my headphones now, so he can't hear it. All right, so we've got lots of really cool things coming down right now. As for a new unique plugin, it is now available over at wppro-A-Z.com. And on this one here, you just go to wppro-A-Z.com, go into our web design thing, and then drop over to WP plugins that are available. And we now have a plugin that is available for you to download. Our first one, and it's mostly in beta stage right now, but it is ready for production. Go read all about it over at wppluginsa-z.com. And to get it free, you just got to click a couple of spaces to get it for free. All right, other items we've got for you. Here is some great Gravity Forms add-ons that are free. Over at gravitykit.com, go wander over there. They've got a fair number of add-ons that are available for Gravity Forms that are a little different than if you use the ones from Gravity Forms themselves. They've got one here. I kind of like it. It needs a bit of work, but it's better than any other thing I've seen so far, and that is their... Where'd it go? For some reason, I don't have it in the list here. They have a widget for Elementor that easily displays your Gravity Forms for you. Better than any of the other widgets, and it's a standalone widget versus having to install one of those ones that has 50 widgets in there. You got to turn them all off just to get the one you want.
Well, that's useful.
It is nice. It's not quite done up in the full way I want it to do, so I may fork it or send him a thing and say, hey, can you improve on this? But if he improves on it too much, he'll have to start charging for it. So at any rate, go check them out. Some really cool plugins there. Also, a nice piece of security news out there. Pay attention to fake WordPress plugins. Okay, there are a lot of fake WordPress plugins. Be aware of where you download plugins from and the reputation of the plugin developer you're getting it from, because there are ones that are injecting malware into your website. So, and they're injecting usually casino malware or pharmacy malware, so, or spamware. Spamware, malware, same thing. Well, close. At any rate, so be aware of them. This is a really good article. Go check it out and read it.
How likely do you think it is to have the fake plugins appear in the WP repository?
Zero likely.
Okay.
Because they that's the one beautiful thing about the WordPress repo is you have to jump through numerous hoops to get into that repo. And the code is examined. And it's even done, I think it was a few years ago, they introduced an auto examiner that examined the code for known malware or patterns for malware. So because there was the problem maybe 8-10 years ago where people were easily uploading them and they did some malware ones snuck in there. And then that was also when they changed, a few years ago, they changed the rules around selling a plugin because somebody thought up the idea, hey, you know what? All these beautiful old abandoned plugins still have tens of thousands of people installed. How about if I approach the developer of it who doesn't care anymore, offer him 10 or 15 grand, buy his plugin, bring it down, add my own spamware or advertisingware code to it, re-upload it. People go, oh, cool, there's an update. Click an update.
Oh, no.
And that was a problem 5 to 8 years ago. I can't remember it now. It was a big problem. They had to change a lot of rules around plugin submissions because of that.
So then in this wild west of repositories that are cropping up everywhere, whoever ends up making the most secure repository is probably going to win the race.
That's exactly it, because even the wild west of the repositories, some of them are vetting every plugin that comes in. And that has to be done because you have to have trust. People have to have trust in you to be able to use your services. And that's the whole thing about the internet. You have to show trust. So that's an interesting one coming up. Okay, another interesting article I thought would be of use here is the current state of WordPress market share. And this is current state as of last month, I think. So what they're showing is the growth, where it's at, and how much of the internet it's powering, how much of the CMS market share it is. WordPress's share is still quite strong, even with all of the drama from last fall. So some high-profile people may have made the exodus, but all of the lower profile, the ones that make up the vast majority of this community, they're still here. And who knows, some of the lower profiles may become higher profiles. All right, next one I've got for you here. Got some coding tips for you. Here's a really great coding tip if you're a GitHub developer. This is a article on how to set up your GitHub and set up all the codes and other things to make sure your GitHub repository stays clean, easily usable, and people understand it. Just a nice little simple one. Another one is using Cursor, which is something I'm just getting into exploring, using Cursor to create WordPress plugins. And this is a really good article on how to download, set up Cursor, get it all tricked out specifically for WordPress plugins. So this could save you tons of time if you're doing WordPress plugin development, or if you're just getting into it, this could shortcut your learning curve.
Yeah, it could definitely help you to learn faster if you're able to get the answers more immediately.
Yeah, well, that's the whole joy of all of this stuff. I fully embraced, as much as I poo-pooed it and whined about it and said all miscellaneous things, as they say never, because after all, this last week I started drinking coffee for some strange reason. So, like I said, and I hated it most of my life, and all of a sudden, coffee tastes good.
Yes, it's because I turned you to the dark side.
Yes, I've been turned to the dark side. Not dark coffee, but, medium roast. Tastes good. So, at any rate, go check out, and AI can help you in multiple ways as I'm figuring out and beginning to understand how to use AI to help you accomplish something. It's not going to replace people. I don't care what people think is happening. It's not going to replace people. It'll replace the stupid people, yes. But the intelligent ones, no. What it's going to do is it's going to take your 2-hour jobs and cut them down to 30 minutes. So that's basically what's going to happen. But if you don't have the intelligence to ask the right questions, it doesn't matter what you do. All right, a couple other quick things here. We've got some SEO information for you. I'm only going to pop off 2 articles of the 4 I've got here because I just don't want to take us here forever. This is a nice article for setting up your structured data, not tokenization. And this is for the future of LLMs. Because if you're going to have a website, and you really want to show in the searches, because you got to show in Google search, along with a lot of people are using AI or LLMs, as they really are, to do searches. You want to make your site easier to read and understand for the LLMs. So this is a good article for setting up your site to make it so that the LLMs understand your site better. Another one here, this is something that I needed a little knowledge on. It's the Google Eat. And I forgot what it stands for. It's an experience factor, experience, authentication, and trust. That's what it was. Experience, authority, and trust. This is one of the big things that Google bases the search results of your site on. And this is a really good article on on what it is and how to demonstrate it to Google for SEO purposes. So you'll want to read this article.
That does sound very useful.
Yeah. Yeah, this was one I was doing some research for a client and working on something for a client, and I came across it and said, okay, what's this term? Okay, so we need to examine their website for this specific feature in it. And it's very important with your site, especially if you're trying to rank for authority in your particular niche.
Larry said, like the old Google authorship days, back when Google Plus was around.
Actually, it might have something to do like that. It could very well be.
Well, can one of you explain it to the newbie here? Because I'm a little lost. What do you mean Google?
Authorship?
Google?
Authorship was a ranking factor Google had back in the beginning before they went down this track.
Okay.
Authorship is basically authority. You know, oh, well, look, this one person cranked out this many articles and they're this good, so they must have some authority.
Okay, so it's like, okay.
That's a very old term. That's a very old term. I forgot about that. All right, we've got a couple of quick tips of the day. If you're a WordPress user, you'll want to head over to the WP world and go sign yourself up. You know, cool thing about this, when you go look at it, it shows you all the WordPress users that have registered themselves across the globe. And it's a great place to connect with WordPress users from anywhere you want to be that have taken the time to connect themselves up here. Let's see here. It's a little slow right now. There you go. You pick your particular area of the globe and then just hit it up and it'll tell you if there's a WordPress user near you and what their skills might be. They might be someone you can hire. You know, so I thought that was a cool one. And if you're a WordPress user and you want people to find you, go register here. This will help. Another community I discovered in the last few days is called Influence WP. The creator of this community reached out. We're going to be interviewing him on March 24th. So I'll be having an interview with Ryan from Influence WP to talk about this. This is a relatively new community. And he's building a very interesting community here where they're offering up a directory of specials and deals. To get the specials and deals, you don't just click through to get them. What you have to do is you either have to become a consumer member, and then you can go find the deals, or you become a partner member. And to be a partner member means you can get your business or your deal listed here. And you can do it one of two ways. You can pay them an annual registration fee, or you can offer up a unique deal to their community only. And then you get a free membership into it. So it's a really cool system. I really like it. I spent a little time on it this morning, registered WP Pro A-Z host there, and let's see if they accept the deal. And if not, I'll probably go pay their fee because it looks like a nice area to reach very select people who are the higher quality of clients you want in business.
That's awesome.
So, with all that being said, of course, we have all the extras that Amber brings in for news links that are tossed in at the bottom underneath all this. And with that being said, I think it's time for us to wander on over and go talk about plugins. Alrighty. This is a bonus week for you all, folk, this week. Yep. Find my tongue. We'll start that one more time.
Did you actually bite your tongue?
No. What happened was my tongue tripped over itself while it was talking.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I have actually bitten my tongue when I'm trying to speak. It really hurts. And then just,
Yeah, I say I got to go find it and start again. I was saying this is a bonus week for everyone because I brought not one plugin this week, but two. Because the second one was so cool, I had to bring it in this week.
I didn't even realize that second one was meant for this show, so I didn't throw it into the show notes.
Oh, well, I will have to. I did say additional plugin for the show. Well, why don't you go throw it in there while I talk about the first one? Save me having to pop between different show notes. All right.
Sounds good.
First one I've got for you here is called, now this one here, for everyone to know, this one's a little different. This isn't exactly a plugin. This is for plugin developers. And what it is for is it's a component you can add into your plugin development, and it works like a hot damn. It's called Support Access Manager. Now, it can be created as a separate standalone plugin. The creator of it here, his GitHub account, it's Derek Osher. Derek Osher is the creator of it. And you can find it over at his GitHub account, and you can download this and install it into your plugin you're developing. And what this does is it creates a page in your admin area that allows you to create temporary admin logins. And what those temporary admin logins do is they give you a URL that you can email to someone who's going to give you support, and they click the link and they're instantly logged into your website. And this link can be determined, like you can set it up to have a time limit on it, like it only has access for 2 weeks. You can also set it up to not only have a time limit of 2 weeks, but you can set up, say this link can only be used once. So if they use it once they get out of your site and log out, then they can't use that link to log back into your site ever again. And if they don't use it in 2 weeks, it expires and becomes unusable. It's very useful. I have added this particular component into the free plugin we now have available over at WP Plugins A-Z, and I've tested it. It works like a hot damn. The one way you can protect yourself if you're worried about, well, what if they don't log in? Well, they have to log in from the same browser or come back from the same browser, and they have to do it within 2 weeks anyway because your session cookie for WordPress expires after 2 weeks. But what you can do is you can set up another plugin. I haven't brought it in a long time. It's a idle logout plugin. Means if someone's not doing anything on your website for a period of time, or they close the browser window they're in, it automatically logs them out of the website. So there's lots of ways to protect yourself. But this plugin here, or not plugin, but component for a plugin, which can be a plugin if you want to create it as a plugin and then distribute it to people, is just awesome. I thought it was fantastic, and I've recently used it myself and tested it and inserted it in my own plugins. So hey, go check this one out. This is called Support Access Manager, and it's for developers mostly, and I give it a 5 Dragon rating. All right.
I've come across plugins like this before. This one seems like it moves a lot smoother and is much lighter than other ones I've tried out, though.
Yeah, it's a very light plugin. It's very light. It works very well. So
I got the ad in for you, so you don't have to flip around now.
I saw that. Thank you very much. All right. Well, what this one's for, this plugin also, I found it over on GitHub before I discovered they had a WordPress page for it. And the reason I got this, I was doing some really creative stuff on trying to get a coupon code for WooCommerce that has a URL attached to it. And when you click that URL, it goes to your store, inserts the product you want attached to it into the cart, and takes them right to the checkout page, automatically applies that discount code so that they can get in there. I needed this for the setup on WP Plugins so you can get our plugin for free. You click the link, the special link, it takes you in, and automatically it 100% zeroes out the price. Now, when I was doing some research, well, okay, WooCommerce sells their plugin that does this. It's like $50 a year. It's like, I don't need another subscription right now. Besides, I have a disagreement with how they do all their plugin stuff. So other ones, yeah, they were offered up. There were a couple that were sort of in the free that almost worked and then didn't quite work. And there are several versions of paid ones out there, but I have so many subscriptions right now, I can't afford another $50 a year for something that I can find ways to either build myself or find somebody that's already built. So I remembered, oh yeah, go search on GitHub. Do you know how many free plugins there are available on GitHub? It's just incredible. And I searched over on GitHub, and then I found this one here. It's called Coupon URLs. Apply a coupon from a custom link for WooCommerce. Works like a hot damn. You can get it directly from their GitHub URL, or they do have it available from their WordPress.org page. Now, the interesting thing, if you do a search for this plugin in the installation backend of WordPress where you add new plugins, this plugin is near impossible to find in that search. Okay.
I would really love to know what algorithm has been inserted into that search bar.
If you're looking for something that is an automatic product, if you're looking for a competition, an automatic product, they bury it as best they can. That's my considered opinion of the algorithm.
Maybe, but like something like Cube Color, one of my favorite plugins that brings in the new all the different options that WordPress originally had.
Yeah.
That's not a competition. It's totally free, but for some reason that thing is so buried.
I have no idea how they do it. It's like it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good for years and years now. It used to be fantastic back in the beginning. It was like hot damn. It brought them up every time. Then all of a sudden it started changing little by little, and then it turned into what it is now. It's like I had to do some really digging in the back end of WordPress to find this plugin. You know, you can find it beautiful on Google, but you can't find it in the search that WordPress does for installing plugins. So at any rate, this is 100% free, and the developer listed it as 100% free, forever free, no pro version, premium quality, made for WooCommerce, compatible with the latest version of WooCommerce. And it is. It works like a hot damn, and it's so easy to use. It's easier than all the other 4 plugins I tested to do this job. And it just works. And it gives you that nice link you need and ways to make it work in multiple ways. I made it work and I made it do monkey dancing to do all kinds of strange things. So anyway, I was just such a cool plugin, and because I like WooCommerce as a store, but I hate the company as the way they sell stuff. They're trying to rival GoDaddy for upsells, is what they're trying to do.
Oh, good.
You know, so anyway, all of that. Go check this one out. Coupon URLs. Apply a coupon from a custom link for WooCommerce, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
So I have now learned a new term from Larry here. Automagically. I've never heard that one before. He said, I guess you could also hard code the coupon into the URL, but doing it automagically is cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Automagically. I'm so taking that and using it in my everyday life from now on.
Well, the coupon is kind of hard coded into the URL. That's part of how the magic of this coupon works. You take the link you created and you add that piece of information, and it doesn't matter what URL on your website you use it for, it'll still do the job. You could use your top level domain with the added coupon info at the end, and boom, it still does what it's supposed to. Or you can send them directly to the page for the product so they can see the product. You know, so there's lots of really cool ways to use this plugin. So with that being said,
so this is the WordPress tips. If anybody out there has managed to figure out something by breaking it, or they have some really good suggestions or recommendations, or just some good life tips that they'd like to pass on, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and I will throw them in here, and you guys can stop listening to my ramblings every time. So my tip to you today is, when you are working on a sandbox site, don't be afraid to try all the new things. Try that new code, try that new plugin, try it all. However, if you find that any of it is kind of iffy, or if it has done something unexpected, delete it. Delete it now. Delete it and forget it. Or, you know, make sure that you let other people know that it's no good, but delete it. And if you find, as I have in the past, that you can't actually delete that iffy thing, you need to reinstall. Bring it back to 0. But that's why we have sandboxes. We have sandboxes so we can do all of the titchy, crazy, scary stuff. We can break it. We can try out these plugins that won't delete and totally mess up your site. We try them here so that we don't mess up any of the sites in real time, any of the sites that are actually important. So when you are messing around in your sandbox, don't be gentle, be mean, be a bully, be crazy. It's worth it, because by doing that, not only will you learn a lot, but you will also be able to tell with assurance which plugins are worth having, which ones are not, and which ones to avoid.
Yep.
So go break things.
Go break things. That's the whole point of a sandbox. Break it, break it, break it, and break it some more.
So my plugin that I'm bringing today is interesting. It was an interesting journey for me. I'm bringing AI Power Complete AI Pack. So I was looking through the AI plugins because I want to start really testing out all these AI plugins, see which ones are actually worth it. This seems to have a decent number of installs and seems to be fairly well liked. So I decided to give it a try, even though it's a Swiss Army knife style. So first thing after downloading and activating it is they try to push you into doing the auto update thing. If you tell it no, it just goes okay and moves on to the next thing, and you find yourself in the general dashboard. In the general dashboard, you will see a whole bunch of different options. The first thing that you'll notice is that you get to choose which module you want to use. You can use chatbot or which I don't know if it's modules or
I have no idea. Components.
Module settings. Okay, so module settings, you get to choose which options you want to have, and you'll see chatbot, content writer, auto GPT, AI forms, image generator, training, user credits, or audio converter. You can check mark any or all that apply to your needs. But on if you look at this image on the right hand side, you'll see that you need to have an API key. So in order to get that API key, you can either go with something you already have, like if you have Gemini, or if you have the OpenAI account, you can use an API there. If you don't, you can, my recommendation would be to go to the OpenAI platform. I have the link here in the show notes. I would recommend you go there. It will cost $5, but like not only will you get an API key for something like this plugin, you get access to all of their toys and you can just have fun. You can use whatever is available. It is definitely worth it. The other options you'll see is chatbot settings. So like you get to go through all the different settings, set up everything, make it so it can either it can use tokens or you have to manually give it a permission for tokens. And then when I wanted to move to the next option in the left-hand menu area, like they have a few options in the dashboard, it crashed. It crashed badly. It crashed so badly, I couldn't get back into my website. And I think it put some stress on the entire server because I wasn't able to get into my other sandbox, which is on the same server. I couldn't get into the cPanel. I couldn't get into the front end. I couldn't get into the back end. There was no errors. It was just timing out. Nothing. I couldn't do anything on either of my sites. And the second site, I didn't even get to try putting this plugin in. So I had to go into my site through FTP and I had to delete the plugin. It took 10 minutes to delete this plugin through FTP. It was insane. And then, so after I did that, I was able to get into cPanel, but still not able to get into the front end. So I went into cPanel, I did a debug, and I cleaned up things. And after that, I was able to get into my site on the front end, the back end. It was crazy. This was like a nice long journey because I'm not very good at this part of it. I'm usually building things, not fixing things. So it took me a lot longer than it would have taken, like, say, John to do this. But because of that, I learned a lot. And I do not recommend this plugin. It requires way too many resources. It choked the entire pipeline when I tried this out. So if anybody's interested, the debug code I used, I threw it in the show notes in case you're kind of clueless like me and don't really know what you need. Well, this worked to help fix things in my site. So yeah, quite the experience, quite the journey. This would definitely not work for anybody who shares the hosting, or if you have like a low tier hosting on companies like HostGator or Bluehost, definitely won't work for you. I'm actually kind of sad I didn't get to try out the rest of this because it seems like they may have actually done a very good job building this, but it requires way too many resources for people who don't have a lot of resources for it to pull on. So if they weren't trying to be a Swiss Army knife kind of plugin, maybe if they just focused on one aspect of AI, it wouldn't require so much energy or so many resources, and then more people would be able to try it and use it. That is what I think. But because of my very long journey with this plugin, I rate this at 1 dragon.
My God, we haven't used that in a long time.
Yeah, it was quite the journey, and
Yeah.
I got to bed very, very late.
Yeah, I bet. No wonder you didn't give me a call.
No, this was way too late for you. If I'd have woken you up for this, it wasn't even that worrisome. Like, I knew I could fix it, but
Okay.
just took me a while.
Yeah. All right.
Next up, we got our donation.
Yes, we do.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
So at about 2 a.m., I wrote out donations from across the galaxy. You know what? I think I'm going to keep it. So we have our producership credits. They are a thing that actually do exist. And we offer these up to those who donate through time, talent, or treasure. You can use these credits to boost your resume, add to your LinkedIn file, so on and so forth. And when you help us, we help you. It's a whole scratch your back. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. It's a fantastic setup. Highly recommend you give it a go. Try it out. And you can always use us just as a tool to get yourself noticed. You can get an interview with us, or you can have us make an announcement for you. Like, say you're going to be up on the WordPress stage or something. Let us know. We'll make an announcement for you. If you are interested in donating through time, talent, or treasure, you can check out our website, WP A-Z.com. And we have the time, talent, and treasure pages you can read up on. We also have the affiliates section. We have
There you go. Need a drum roll for that one.
for it already. Nice. Just quickly, MD, so rather than delete a plugin in FTP, you can achieve the same effect by renaming the plugin folder. I did that first. I put -brk. It did nothing. That's why I ended up deleting it.
Yeah, sometimes things are going crazy. It sounds like this plugin's doing a whole lot more things than it should be. So
Yeah, well, they are accessing every single AI that's available, and I think that's the problem. They don't just use the AI that you put the API in. When I was reading the logs, it looked like they were reaching out to every single one. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the affiliates on the Milky Way. So we are affiliates with 2 companies right now. It's a new section, so give us some time to figure out where exactly we're
Oh, come on. We have affiliate programs now, folks. We are getting some feedback on them. You know, our first one, our primary one we're talking about here is Termageddon. And what it's for is for managing your privacy policies. And this is a fantastic plugin. We use it ourselves, or not a plugin, but a service as a software tool. We use it ourselves to help keep our privacy policies current and legal. Along with their cookie manager is way better than any of the cookie plugins we have reviewed on the show. So that's our first one. The second one, Rank Math. You know it better than I do.
Rank Math is a fantastic SEO company. We've been using them for a long time, or at least I have been. Definitely way better than the other one, Yoast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rank Math is awesome. They actually use like real people language, and they help you understand what it is you're doing. They have a lot of things that help teach you. So definitely worth going and checking out.
Yeah, and if you click the links in our show notes, we do get a commission on them. It does not cost you anything extra. It's just their way of paying us for telling folks about them. And we will eventually be bringing more and different affiliates here to the show, but you can guarantee that the products we bring will be ones we believe in and use ourselves before we tell you about them.
And then we have some miscellaneous announcements. If you would like to have your announcement here, like I mentioned before, like say you're going to be up on WordPress stage or something, let us know. We'll put it here for you. Currently, we have the next 5 WordCamps that are coming up. If you're interested in seeing the whole list, you can go to central.wordcamp.org. We also have the link for meetup.com, so you can find a WordPress meetup in your area. That's all we have here for right now, but that's still good information to have. If you are interested in reaching out to us, you can reach out to us through our brick and mortar address, which we've pasted here for you, or you can reach out to us through our internet virtual addresses. That's the phrase.
And the other thing for all you developers out there or people in the WordPress community or want to talk about it, we are now booking interviews for the interview show, which happens every other Monday in between the regular show days for WP Plugin.
And today's plugins we covered were?
I covered up the Support Access Manager by Derek Osher, which is not a plugin so much as it is an add-on into the into your plugin. And what it does, creates a temporary admin accounts for you, and you can pass them up, a cron-based cleanup of expired accounts, and set expiration times. Also added in coupon URLs, which applies a coupon from a custom link for WooCommerce, and both of those plugins I gave a 5 dragon rating to, so go check them out.
And I covered AI Power, Complete AI Pack by Senels, multiple AI providers, token management, and required too many resources for me to really test, unfortunately. So I rated it at 1 dragon.
All right, it is time.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
So if anybody out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show, you can send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca. The question can either be designed to try to stump my dad, or it can be a question that you feel a little too embarrassed to ask anybody in person, or you just would rather have someone else ask it so I can pretend I'm the one asking the question and you can get the answer. My first question today is, what are 3 things you should always do before hitting update on your site for WordPress versions? When it's a WordPress version update, what are 3 things you should always do beforehand?
Backup. There's 3. Oh, you want more than that? Well, backup is the number 1 thing you want to do. Back up your website. Then when you're doing, before you hit update, what else do you do besides backup, and backup? There's not much else to do.
Make sure your plugins and themes and everything are updated before you update your WordPress.
You didn't ask me the process. You asked me things you do before hitting update. You're hitting update. If you want the process, that's a whole different thing.
So wait a minute. It's a process to make sure, or just a process, but
your question states, what are 3 things you should always do before hitting update on your site for WordPress versions? Backup, and a backup. But if you're looking to update the WordPress version, the process before hitting it is to, 1, backup update all your plugins, and again, backup before you do those. Update your plugins, and don't use the mass update on the update page, because if you do the mass update, there's a better than average chance that something will break. I've seen it way too many times. No matter how much they say it works beautiful, every time I do it, something breaks. So I give up.
It broke.
The other thing is you back up, you update your plugins, then you update your themes, then you update your WordPress core files. But in the process, before you do anything, make a backup, and then make an extra backup, and then make another backup, just to be sure you made a backup with a backup. So, because don't trust backups. I learned that one 17 years ago. You can't trust backups, because you might have a corruption that you're backing up, and you won't know it till you actually need that backup. And then you got to go back and back and back. People used to berate me for how many backups I had of things until that day happened. And I only lost a week of data. I didn't lose an entire life of it.
I remember that happening to you.
Yeah. It was when I owned my computer store.
Yep.
Okay, so there's your answers.
Next question is, how do you decide which plugins are worth keeping when your site starts to slow down?
Evaluate whether the plugin is still providing value for your site. That's how you decide whether you keep it or not. You know, and if your site's slowing down, you have to determine what plugin is causing it or if something else is going on. Like one of the biggest things I recently found is like I've recently improved the speed of the WP Plugins A-Z site, and I didn't replace any plugins. What I did was I went in and cleaned up the database that had been accumulating crap for 16 years. And once I cleaned that crap out of the database, the site improved by about 30%.
This is true. Well, when you go through a site, perhaps a better question would be, how do you decide which plugins are worth keeping when you're going through a site and you're trying to like trim down on everything? You're trying to get rid of excess and everything. Decide
if that functionality is still valid and useful for your site. You know, is this particular function, whatever it is, still valid in today's technological changes with today's technology and what people are doing on the internet? I mean, just having seen how the internet has changed in the last 25 years has been incredible, you know, and now that I've re-embraced it, I find new excitement in all of the new changes that have happened only in the last 3 years. So you have to just sort of evaluate. It's like you go through your plugin and say, okay, what's this one doing? Okay, do I still use that functionality? Maybe. Well, we don't really use all that. It doesn't do all that much, or it provides this function, but I've got this function from this other plugin here. Like a lot of times you'll discover you have plugins in your site and some of the functionality is now in WordPress core. You know,
this is true.
Because some functionality has been migrated to WordPress core, or someone's created, or you've installed a plugin that includes functionality from a plugin that used to be standalone. You know, so it's like a lot of things change. People incorporate things. The thing about open source is like the add-on that I found to add into a plugin, that's open source. People can put that into all of their plugins. You know, and it can be there. The biggest thing that has to be with something like that is it has to be something that's toggled on and off. That'll be something that I'll work towards in the plugin I'm at, is like you can turn that function on and off for the plugin. You know, because if somebody else comes along and puts that same function in their plugin, now two plugins have that functionality. Were they going to have a battle royale during when they're both on? You know, so there's a lot to think about when you're doing this stuff.
Larry had a couple things. He said, and is the plugin being updated and maintained? And sometimes you can create a function without the need of a plugin.
Yes, that's true. Well, you can always create a function without the need of a plugin. A plugin is taking the function that you would have normally put into the WP or to your functions file, and you turn it into a standalone plugin so you can turn it on and off a lot easier. So you can manage it and debug, and also so it makes it easier for you to change your theme without losing that functionality. That was something I learned early on. I used to put a lot of this code into the functions file, and then one day I decided to change themes, and it's like, oh shit, I lost all that function. Now I have to go back and recopy the code. Whereas if I turned it into a plugin, it would always still be there. Anything that can be put into your functions file can be a plugin, and that doesn't impact your site speed, whether it's a function or whether it's a plugin. It has the same impact on your site speed.
That does make sense.
Yeah. So.
All right, I've got two more questions for you after the credits.
All right. Well, this is for those of you listening to the download on your favorite podcast player. And, well, if you want the rest of the questions and who knows what else we talk about after the show closing, you're going to have to slide on over to our YouTube channel and just pop to the end and listen to the really good stuff there. With that being said, I'm going to let our girl take us on out of here, and we'll be right back.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsaz.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsaz.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WP Plugins A-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
All right. So my next question for you.
We're back.
The next question for you is, how often should a person check their permalinks to make sure they are still working and SEO friendly? And what's the easiest way for you to do that, do you think?
Well, there's only one easy way to do it, but you should check them randomly from time to time. It's not a problem like it used to be. There used to be a time when, for some no apparent reason, WordPress would reset your permalinks during a update, kind of like Windows resets your audio when it adds in an update.
That's terrible.
It used to happen back in the early days, and so you had to make sure you went in after you updated the core and double check your permalinks. And there's only one way to set them anyway. You go to the permalink setting in your admin menu, click on that, go over and choose your permalink setting, and then just hit enter and save. And you got to do it twice. Never do it just once. Always do it twice. Because sometimes, it still happens this day, sometimes you save it once and it doesn't save it. So you have to do it twice, because what it does is it actually writes to your htaccess file, because that's where the permalink setting is in your htaccess file. Now, if you have a security plugin that has changed the write permissions on your htaccess file, they should never change, and you won't have to worry about it. But I've seen stranger shit happen, so.
All right. My last question for you is, what's one WordPress feature you think could save people hours of time if they just knew it was there and how to use it?
I've never really thought about a WordPress feature that would save hours of time.
Me either. Like, mostly I'm looking at all the various features in the builders. Like, there's lots of features in the builders I'm still learning about, but I don't really...
Okay, let's separate this. Are you talking about a WordPress core feature or something created by the community that adds on to WordPress?
I was meaning like WordPress, like the blank slate WordPress that you get.
Just the core. Okay, just the core.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the one that'll save them hours of time, in my opinion, nowadays, is installing the original editor, the classic editor. It'll save you hours of time to use the classic editor and a regular theme versus trying to build and understand your site in Gutenberg. That's my opinion.
Well, at least if Gutenberg doesn't mesh with your brain.
It doesn't even matter if it meshes with their brain. Hell, the creator of Gutenberg couldn't even use it correctly.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
That was so entertaining. In fact, he's the one who helped create the damn thing, and he still couldn't use it to quickly build a website.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that just answered every question about Gutenberg, in my opinion. So.
Well, some people, their brains mesh with that kind of chaos, though.
Yep.
Because that's what Gutenberg is. It is chaos.
It is chaos, and it is chaos, and chaos comes.
I need organized chaos in my brain. Like my chaos that has neat piles just stacked all over the place, but they're neat piles.
But yeah, if you're talking about one feature in the core, that's the one feature in the core now that I can think of. There's lots of other things, but the core itself of WordPress is pretty slim and pretty fast all by itself. And if you're building just a blog site, you really don't have to add anything but anti-spam and not just anti-spam, but security. Anti-spam and security is the only thing you really need to add if you're building a blog website.
Okay, I wasn't really sure because, like I said, I haven't really delved too deeply into just WordPress. I'm always working with others and stuff.
Yeah, well, the core itself, in reality, aside from Gutenberg, the core itself hasn't changed all that much. And I guess it's 20 years old now.
Wow.
Yeah, 20. Actually, it turns 21. It's 21. I don't know. Wait a second. It might be 22 this year. It might be 22. WordPress shares the same birthday as your older brother.
Yeah, but also WordPress is allowed to drink everywhere now. It is legal.
It's 21 now. Yeah, so WordPress is 21 now. So and I've been working with WordPress now for almost 17 years. So
Larry added, I guess he uses Gutenberg a lot because he said, I don't mind it, but explaining it to a new client, anything in the admin dashboard is overwhelming. I'm hopeful someday they'll improve the admin.
Yeah, that's on the same list as improving the media library.
Yeah.
they did give the admin dashboard a makeover about 6 years ago, and it got better. It was way worse than it is now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I used to have an entire course that I taught on just how to use the admin dashboard for WordPress. Then they improved it, and it got, okay, well, it's not as hard to understand now.
Oh, that's all the questions.
That's it. All right, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. I noticed we had a peak there of 8 people. Wow, that was nice.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone, for showing up. We greatly appreciate it. And for those of you that hung around for the whole show, this is one of our longer shows in a long while.
Yeah.
So it was kind of impressive. So with that being said, we're going to have a little music to carry us on out. Thanks, everyone, for showing up.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
All righty, folks. That's all we got right now for you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, that is obviously we just lost the satellite feed. That sucks.